everyone, and welcome to another exciting session of the GetOnPoint Series. And we are looking at the Business Central Essentials. Last time we talked about inventory, and today we'll be having another episode to look at different setups that has to do with inventory. I remain your host, Okichiku, and joining me is Steven. It's good to have you, Steve.
Hi, thanks.
Yeah, so today we're looking at what are the key setups that are to be handled when it comes to Business Central.
So obviously, like inventory is a bit challenging by nature, but it makes it what makes it even more challenging is the number of setups that have to be put in place. So similar to other areas of business center, we have what's known as the inventory setup. So like sales, we have sales and receivable setups, purchase and payable setups. So it is a generic setup for the inventory module. However, apart from that, we have other number of setups. So definitely the first thing which needs to be set up is the units of measure. Then we have also got the locations, we have got the variants, as well as series and lot numbers, which are also needs to be set up. So locations is a generic setup because it comprises the whole company locations. However, use and measure, variants, and serial lot numbers, they're also directly related to the item card itself.
Okay, we talked about unit of measure. I believe it's whether it's the kg, dozen, and all that, or bags, or how it comes. All about the serial and the lot numbers.
So let's start off by it is complex, right? So let's start off by units of measure. And so when
Okay,
it comes to units of measure, unit of measure, we need to understand. So, as you correctly stated, it's like kilograms, like units. So, and that is fine. That's the easy part. However, we need to understand that when it comes to units of measure, we need to cater for the different scenarios to make it easier for the users. So, let's give an example. If I'm buying water, I would like to input just either the bottle or the keg or the pellet or the packet. So I don't want the users I don't want users to input the single units each time, but I would like to have them defaulted by automatically at item level. So for example, if I buy one pallet of water, that could translate into 6,000 bottles. If I buy one pallet of apples, that could actually be translating to 20,000 kilograms of apples. But if I'm buying one pallet of, let's say, milk, that is actually translated to 10,000 liters of milk. You know? So the same unit of measure can actually, it has to be translated and defaulted for each and every item. And that means that each time the user chooses it, when selecting the item, this system automatically translated unit of measures by the base unit of measure of the respective item.
very very useful, and this is actually a very nice point. This is something that can actually help users automate processes and make their work easier. So that's
Yes,
nice.
and reducing errors as well. So that's a crucial part of unit of measure.
Very, 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 very important. So also, I want to look at location. So have the
So
different location and all that, warehousing and stores.
locations are way easier because locations actually reflect all the locations of the company. What people tend to forget that locations may also include lorries and vans, for example, or even other smaller warehouses or storage places owned by the company. So it can even be, it doesn't need to be a huge warehouse. It could be even like the back room in your office building, which is actually used as a storage place for the whole building. So actually, when we speak about locations, we're speaking about any kind of locations, be it a van, be it huge warehouses, be it a small room. Uh, so any kind of location has actually to be maintained, set up and maintained in business center.
Okay, that's nice. And the locations are not limited. You can create as many locations as possible.
That's right.
That's good. That's good. Another key setup we're looking at is variants. So want to know how does variants work in Business Central when setting up?
So variance opposites to units of measure may or may not apply for the company and may or may not apply for the item. So units of measure is standard. You need and you have to set up units of measure for each and every item. Variance is very different because variants are different. How we can say it. So let's give an example instead of this defining it. So if I have a shirt, I can have a shirt of different sizes and colors. If I have tiles, I can have the same tile, but it has different variants of colors. So it has can be different variants of gray, for example, but also different sizes. So variants is the different shapes, colors, textures of the same item, right? So variant is actually like almost a different item, but since they are the same item, we we'd rather create variants as opposed to different items because it's easier to maintain, it's easier to find and to identify. But in truth, variants can ultimately lead to different costings. So I can have like let's say I can have a shirt which is small, which costs X amount, and the large costs X amount. But at the same time, I can have for a piece of furniture, for example, which if bought white is cost $10, but if bought gold, it will cost $100. Once again, it is the same piece of furniture, same item card, but different variants, which actually gives rise to different costings and different prices as well.
Yeah, I get that part. So it's more like variety, but it's just giving different
Exactly.
options, and actually it's making it more dynamic. So it's not just rigid because we know business
That's right.
operates at exactly different levels. So now we come back to the serial and lot numbering when it comes to Business Central. I was so
Now
curious to know more about that.
this is the most complex part. So let's start off with the lot number. So lot numbers are group of items which have been delivered. Um, so let's say if I need lot X, so lot X was made up of all these shirts. So when it comes, so it is very common. For example, if you think about it, for recalls when there is a product recall, because maybe of food, so food contamination, or maybe of some particular ingredient which actually led to some kind of toxicity. That is usually tend to be related to lots. So I need the whole lot recalled back from the market. So that's where lot is extremely useful. So we need to ensure that we have full understanding and full records of where that lot has gone to. When it comes to serial numbers, usually tend to be highly risky items. Usually it tends to be, for example, pharmaceutical. So it's not about, when it comes to the serial number, it's not just about identifying that lot, but it's about identifying that specific packet. So it is like a pharmaceutical item or about like highly contaminated, highly dangerous items, such as anything related to, for example, uranium or so it is any kind of item which we can think about that we need to identify. So it's not about the whole lot or the whole range, but the specific packet. Where did the specific packet go to? Who has bought the specific packet? So obviously it's about traceability. Both of them we're dealing with traceability. One we're dealing with the traceability of a group that is the lot, and the other one is with the traceability of that specific packet.
Wow, a bit complex, but I get it. I get it. So actually,
Yeah, so seal and lot number. So obviously, as we already mentioned that items are complex. Obviously, units of measure, locations, variants, series and lot numbers, like, well, they spice it up big time.
Yeah. Well, it's actually to, like I said, to make the job easier, avoid manual errors, because when we're talking about different variants, it is pharmaceutical, manufacturing, also retail businesses. So to avoid them being mixed up. So I see the importance. We've
Yeah, and
actually
the
gained one
headache
or
that
two
we
when
that
it comes to this
exactly,
yeah.
yes, and those are the
The
headache
setups are
which
actually very, very important.
that's right, yeah.
The stress, exactly. So we'll call it a wrap for this session. And hopefully, on the next session, we'll be looking at other features and other peculiarities when it comes to do with inventory. We thank you all for
Excellent.
watching, and we hope to see you at another session. Do have a great day. Bye, everyone.